crazy. Like, I don't know what we're doing. I mean, nobody misses like this, man. It's crazy.
Welcome back, everybody. Backlash Radio. It's just me and by myself today. Nick's got some things going on, plus it's his birthday, so it's just me, Anthony from the Blood Money and Hook Optics. And I got a great guest today, Marty Bates, former captain of the La Onda program, and moving to work for Sam Peters on their new GNS. So I'm just excited to talk to you, Marty, about Cape Verde and your career and everything like that, man. Super.
Roger.
So
how's it going, bro?
Great, man. How'd you get into this, and where are you from? I don't even know that.
I was born in England, and when I was 1, we turned up in New Zealand and immigrated to New Zealand. So I'm a bit of a mixture, but spent all my life pretty much in New Zealand till I got into my early mid-20s, and then went up on the reef. Got a job up on the reef. There's a long story before that, but I don't want to bore your customers. And one thing led to another. Started fishing New Zealand, Australia, and Hawaii. Did a circuit there for a few years up to the Azores, Ghana. Croatia, catching bluefins in Croatia, and over to North Carolina, South Carolina. Just moved around looking for jobs and working. You know how your freelance mates do these days. Mm-hmm. And the company I was working for in Ghana, we moved from Ghana to Ascension, and after Ascension was we been there for a few seasons and stuff, and then we moved to Cape Verde, and I moved up to Cape Verde in 2006, working with Zach Onde on a boat called the Andromeda, which is still there.
Man.
Yep.
So
blah blah blah. That's just real short.
Well, I want to, now that I hear about all these places, I want to hear about, I mean, your time in Ghana and Ascension. I mean, those are two places that, I mean, are hard to get to.
Yeah, it's over 20 years ago now. Let me get my brain sorted out here. Ghana was really cool. That was an interesting location, and big fish, just heavy tackle, 130. Basically, not much bait and switch fishing in those days. We were just pulling lures on 130 and running out of the inlet there at Adafoa, which is about an hour and a half out of the capital, Accra. And we were running out of the Volta River, working up in there. We had a house, a crew house with a floating pontoon and the Haramatan and the Shy 3. And and after we did, I was there from 1999 to about 2002. We took the boats out of Ghana and went across to Ascension Island when Ascension Island opened up. So there was about 1,300 and something miles between Ghana and Ascension, going out to the middle of the Atlantic with 2 sport fishing boats. It was pretty cool.
What kind of sport fishing boats were they?
One was the Haramatan's a 36 Rampage, and I was on a 37 Bertram called the Shy 3.
Okay. The Rampage is still in Ascension, yeah? Yeah,
it's up on the hard there, I think. They dropped our boat out of the slings there. That when I wasn't there when it happened, but the boat was coming out, which I've been out on that boat, standing on that boat many a times, coming out of the water on the Pierhead in Ascension, coming up to the like a low riding truck that we used to put the boats on to take them out for the winter. And anyway, it slipped out of the slings. Anyway, there was a big story about that, but boat hit the pier and broke into 1,000 pieces in the water there in Ascension, right at the Pierhead there.
Damn.
But Haramatan's still there. But after Ascension, moved down to Cape Verde 2006. I was in Ascension. First got to Ascension 2002. I think it was in June. The 6th of June or the 9th of June. I can't remember right, but it was early June. Yeah.
Then what was the fishing like there, man? Like, I mean,
when we first got there, it was everything. It was like a land of the lost, like nobody's touched it. Just some local guys catching tunas and stuff. And we had good marlin fish, consistent as what we seen in Ghana. But we saw some tussle with some real big fish there, and saw some absolute monsters and massive schools of yellowfins and big schools of tunas. And it was a wild destination, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere. Is that place is that affected by like a current? Like it can be really hit or miss?
Yeah, for sure. You know, there was a few other fellows fishing there after I left because I had enough. I was sort of done my time there. I lived on the island. At one stage, I was there for like 16 months on the island, doing all sorts of stuff, looking after the boats and bits and pieces, and living there. But yeah, it's the current flow is good there and pushes the good water into it. It's good fishing. If it don't, it can be too hot, no fish around. But it's a swing and a miss. But they are giants there. You know, that's the beauty of Ascension. That's where the big girls are.
Yeah.
But I could say that. But like last year in Cape Verde, there was a 1370 caught. You know, so there's some big ones around Ascension as well, and some big ones in. There's some big ones in the Gulf today. My friend Scotty on the True Grit there. He got what's that boat called? Not True Grit, is it?
I'll find it real quick.
Yeah, they caught it. I think it was a
11 something.
Yeah, in the Gulf. Well done, the Gulf.
Yeah, I feel like the Gulf has been waiting for that fish for a long, long time, just as a fishing area together.
Yeah, Scotty Anderson's a great joke. I fished with him in the Azores, and he's fished with me in Cape Verde. So, well done to Scotty.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. That's a huge fish.
Chris Mohad and all those boys on that team. They sound like they've got a good bunch of fishermen there hanging out together.
Yeah, that's incredible. So so you go to Ascension, and then when did you make it to the Azores? I imagine.
Azores.
We hear
in
so much.
1999, I was in the Azores, and fresh out of New Zealand, keen as mustard. Went up there, did my first season there. I've been fishing on and off in the Azores. I was there last year. Had a good bite last year, but had a really good bite this year. I missed out on that because I'm waiting on my new boat with Sammy. But Olaf and the boys had an extremely good bite up there. Big fish and good numbers. So I'm happy for those guys. You know,
is that something that? I mean, I feel like you've heard about the Azores like recently for, that it's been so great, but is that something that's gone back for years and years?
Oh, it's definitely fluctuates there. It's not always red hot. You know, we've been seasons there where it's been very slow, and we've caught lots of white marlin. You know, some seasons there, the whites show up and you're getting 30 bites, 40 bites and whites a day, you know.
Wow.
And you may only catch a handful of blues in that season. But, the last few years have been pretty good. But this year was a bumper year. But that's fishing, It's hard to say. Whatever place is always constant,
Do you find Cape Verde to be the most consistent place for blue marlins?
Yeah, but I'm biased. I built a house down there recently.
Yeah.
But mate, that place, if you get a good week in Cape Verde, mate, you're gonna shit your pants. That place has got size and numbers. You might get rats, but you'll get the nice ones climbing in there too. But I've seen my best fishing of my career in Cape Verde. I really have, and that's no lie. That's that place when it's going good. It's unreal, and it's all about current. As far as I'm concerned, I could be wrong, but for me, it's about current. Current right is pushing in right. You're going to get some good fishing. That's what I reckon.
It seems like most of these island, like what I would consider island fisheries, like the Azores, Cape Verde, Ascension, it all has to do with a prevailing current, and if it moves the right way, it's going to be good, and if it doesn't, it's kind of tough.
Yeah, that makes sort of sense. Sorry, man, the phone just moved. Yeah. We all work together in Cape Verde looking for the fish, and we've had a lot of foreign boats down there this year, or international boats and crews coming, and everybody's been real cool with info. So it's really helping out to locate these fish. And as you're getting all this info, you can put one and one together and see what the current's coming on Fish Track or whatever device you're using to look for current and sea temp. But for sure, man. I'm 100% sure it's got something to do with this current pushing into the water from the deep, bringing all the nutrients, bringing something. It's got the flow will bring something.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah. But I think the same with Kona. You know, they have the same as well. They have when the current's pushing in really good, and they have good fishing. So it's got to be something similar to do with the current, I think.
Yeah. And is that something that fluctuates on a seasonal basis, or is it more of a day-to-day or a week-to-week thing?
Well, yeah, well, some seasons, you know, I always say no two seasons the same. That's my old rule. And but when I see the currents coming from the west when in Cape Verde, I'm looking pretty good. I like that westerly current, you know, but had some seasons there with currents pushing down from the north, and the fishing's still been good, but the fish are just sitting in different locations.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Do they tend to sit on the lee side of the current, or on the?
I always find out where they're sitting. I'm pretty sure they're sitting on the top end of the current before it hits the rocks, before it hits your land mass. I think he's just out a few miles from there.
I gotcha. But
you know, there's different places that work that way and different places don't. But the funny thing is, the more I do this, the more I find out, the less I know about it. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, man. I know exactly what you mean.
I'm just a fisherman like you, mate. We like to fish, try do different things, and you know, that's what I love about fishing is you're going back the next season, you still feel like it's your first. That's what I like. You don't know what's going to happen. You see some similarities on the way, but if we were all just catching that easy, I'd probably be pretty bored of it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So I'm a little bit worried about this Omni sonar we're getting in the GNS. I'm like, it's going to take the fun out of it a little bit, but I'm going to enjoy it.
Let me tell you, it ain't gonna. It don't make it that much easier. It'll turn a day where you were doing, in my experience, where you might have caught 3 or 4 into maybe 5 or 6, but still, it doesn't just. You still got to be in the right spot, man. Like you still got to do everything that you would normally do, and then use that.
I've done a couple of days on some boats down there to get lucky with the captains, and they gave me a couple of days sonar training, and I really appreciated that and saw how they were working the units and stuff. And yeah, it's still fishing, but it's definitely going to help you. That's what I like about it, because I like to catch those things, you know, I really do. So that's going to help us do that. So happy days.
Nice. So yeah, let's get into your time at Cape Verde. In Cape Verde, man, you said you got there in 2006.
Yeah, 2006 was my first season.
And what was that place like? I mean, nowadays, you know, there's $10 million swordfish operations there, but I can't imagine it was like that in 2006.
No, it was pretty more raw, I should say. And but it's a beautiful place, man. The people down there are so good, man. The Cape Verdeans they're real people, man. They're not influenced by the outside world so much. They'll hold their culture, if I could say that. And yeah, man, it was a cool place because it was all new for us. And the fishing in those days was, we had some slow days, but we had some red hot fishing down there, which was just unbelievable. You know, 25 bites a day from Blue Marlin. Jesus. And in the early days, we weren't pitching too many baits. We were more of a lure fishing, outfit. Mm-hmm. But then as we slowly progressed and learnt and started pitch baiting and stuff, and it changed down there. So the fishery predominantly when we were there was all pretty much everybody was just trying 4 lures, maybe 5.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So but yeah, it was a charming place, you know, live music at nights, you know, quite sort of not mainstream tourism. So it was still pretty delicate in the society of the culture of the island, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many boats were fishing that area back then?
I think it was 6. Oh, there was 6 boats, and on a good day you might get 5 of them out.
Yeah, gotcha. And that was probably instead of like, I can't imagine it's crowded there now, but
everybody would be hooked up on good days. Everybody would be hooked up the whole day. All boats would be just, you know, 10 feet. I was sitting at the dock with Zach, and we weren't starting till the 27th of March. And the old 31 boat down there called the Babiche, they were coming in every day with 6 flags, 8 flags, 9 flags, 6 flags. And we're sitting there working on our boat, waiting for our charter. They're already chartering.
Yeah.
And me and Zach are just pulling our hair out, mate. Just going off. Oh, my God. You know, it was just insane fishing.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was. I'm happy to see those days, and I know they'll come back. I'm just waiting on the currents. Like Azores had those currents this year, pushing in those fish. That's you want to. If you're going to get in a bite, you got to be around for the bite.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel? Is there any correlation? And maybe, I mean, it's such a vast area. I think I think of the Azores and the Canaries and the Cape Verde is all kind of the same type of fishing. Like from there, it's that direction for me, but they're all completely different, and they're so far away from each other.
Yeah, I've only done a few months in the Canaries and fishing in Puerto Rico there a little while back on a 31-footer. That's now in the Azores, but Cape Verde's different just than the Azores because we're sort of like more mobile. We're fishing an 80 to 90 mile range of 3 different islands from San Vicente to Santantal to the west to over where I built my guest house in St. Nicolau. And now there's a big range of area to fish there, man. So we're covering covering a lot of water. Got to get that phone sorted out. Yeah, we're covering a lot of water. So as always, you've got a lot of banks off there to fish, and you're fishing around islands and in the lees as well when the weather comes up in the Azores. That North Atlantic, you've got some heavy water up there at times too. Sort of same as the Cape Verde, we're fishing in the lee water, but further on in the season, we get more of a calmer time, and sort of like from July onwards, gets calm down there, and it's a good time to fish. We're going to probably be fishing near August and September this year. I've done it a few years back with Zach, and we saw we pulled up some good numbers at that time of year. But also the Azores, man, as I say, you've got a lot of area. It's deep up there. There's a big ocean. Both spots are good spots because we can access deep and good area. That's why I think they're good marlin destinations. They're a good gamble to go marlin fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, I hope that I answered that question right. I got a little bit off.
Yeah, no worries. So you started there in 06, and then were you fishing as a deckhand there, or were you running a boat by then?
I did the first 4 seasons with Zach, crewing, working with him because we worked for the same company. We got the Andromeda slowed down, and the guy pulled out of that, and so we got with another guy from Denmark, and we got the 36 little 36 Bertram called the Amelia when she was white. She was originally blue. I worked for Zach on that for 2 seasons, and then I sort of like parted ways with Zach, and I said, listen, bro, I'll do my own thing. And I started working with the La Onda company. That was in a little 33 Bertram.
They still have that boat, right?
They still got it there. Yeah, it's still right there. I had Chase Travers driving that this year. He was down there giving it a go. He got the world record on fly on it. So that young fella's done a job.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But, down there was so small boats, but you didn't need a big boat down there because the fishing was right out front. It was, there's some sea down there and stuff. But really, when the fish are biting, you don't care about a little 10 knots of breeze or 15 knots of breeze, especially if you're fishing in the lee. But, it was Cape Verde's it's a pretty cool spot. Most people that are fishermen that go there understand it, It's can be rough as balls, mate. It can be really, really rough. It can be very horrible, but then it can be really glamour. It can be really flat, calm, and nice. You just got to get lucky days.
But you can still, like, if somebody were to book a trip there, it's still fishable more days than not, correct?
Oh, I think since I've been there 17 seasons, I've lost about 2 days of fishing.
Wow, I gotcha.
So you don't lose many days.
Okay, gotcha. And then
it does blow every now and again where you just don't want to go, but you can go and you can still fish good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then, so when did you started running the first La Onda boat, the 33?
Yeah, the La Onda Emma. It was the La Onda Emma first. It was a 33 Bertram, and I run that for 4 or 5 years. And then after that, the boss, he was like, let's look for another boat. And I said, okay, let's have a look around. We had a real budget, and we ended up with a 38 Henricus. Yeah, it was up in Connecticut, above New York there. So we brung that down, and that's the Londa Mila. I've been on that since.
Yeah. Tell us about that boat, man. I mean, there's a lot of them here on the East Coast, and I don't think, nobody's really understands what a boat like that is capable of. I mean, you guys are fishing in some pretty big water and a pretty wild area.
Oh, for sure. I put that boat through its paces, man. I've been out there with in some monster seas and felt pretty comfortable and still in control, and it's got a great the engine room on those boats is set up real good. You can pull the hatches and you can get all the way around your motors. It's got big fish boxes in the back. You pull those up and you can get down to where your through haulers and your dripless seals are. It's got a seal bulkhead to where your rudders are, so if you do bust a rudder, you're still good. Big long cockpits, short stubby little bow, good head sea boat. Man, that thing could run through for a 38 footer. Yeah, she's all right. I rate those little Henricuses. I got the first one down there, and now there's two others down there. There's two more came down, another 38 and another 44. So they, those owners or those guys that are running them, they looked at my boat first and they were like, yeah, this boat's put together pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a tough boat. It's all hand-laid fiberglass. I've been all over that boat. Oh, it's got some cracks in it now after me been driving that for 8 years, out to the Northwest Bank and some big sea out there. And it's I don't know. I don't know how much my vote is worth, but that was a really good boat. I really enjoyed fishing on that Henricus. She's good in the sea and she backs down good. She's not so good out of the hull because the props are quite close together and it's a long skinny boat. But backing down, shit, man, you can surf that thing up there real good. You cut them off at the pass, no problem. Really good little boat. And you can ask most of the anglers that fish with me, they're very happy with that little boat. I
was looking at pictures of you. It seemed like you could have, 3-4 people in the cockpit, no problem, very, very comfortably.
Yep. Sunshade on there. We build locally. We built a sunshade and I put some side weather curtains in there just to keep everybody a little bit more dry and comfortable. And everybody loved it, man. It's a nice size space for a 38, for a day boat.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Cape Verde is a super isolated place. Like, what challenges do you guys have running, a charter boat operation there? Like, as far as getting stuff for maintenance and maybe improvements, or if you spin off a wheel or something like that, like how do you guys approach that?
Well, the Cape Verdeans down there, they got a machine shop down there. There's amazing. These guys are very, very capable of doing a lot of jobs. I tell you what, if they did have a decent haul out yard there, there'd be a lot more American boats going there. But they've got a set of railway tracks, and you float onto it like a trolley. You tie up to the trolley, then they haul you out on the tracks. I'm not going to do a new boat, but I'll get a crane and some straps and crane it off a wall. I know a different space, but there's lack of amenities for looking after a boat, really.
Yeah, for sure.
You've got to go back up to the Canaries, but I don't think I want to do that all the time. I know we can look after that boat pretty good there. You got to fly in mechanics if you got any major issues, but generally we try and fix everything ourselves. We're a jack of all trades, a master of none, so to speak. You know how charter boat captains are, mate. You get it done so you can go fishing. But that's the hard part, is boat maintenance is up to you. Looking after your vessel is up to you. There are some trades down there that can paint. There's some French polishers. There's some mechanical guys. There's some guys that can scrub your hull. You got some general stuff that you can do, but any high-tech stuff, you either got to fly someone in or know someone you can trade out days to come and swap some work out. But that's the joy of being down there, man. You're not in a place everybody wants to be.
Yeah. It's a wild, it looks like a wild place.
Mate, yeah. I urge anybody that's really keen on marlin fishing to come down and go fishing down there. 5 to 7 days, because it gives you more time to mooch around the islands and find out where the bite's at. And yeah, it's an adventure fishing still. It's still like an adventure. The islands are really cool, man. The islands are, Cape Verde Islands are, they got some nice things to see there.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, they got fruit and vegetables. There's frozen goods there, so you can feed your charter pretty good lunches. You know, basically tackle. We can get down there with the American crew coming or somebody coming. Most of my charters come from the States, so I just send them something or ask them if you can pick me up this. I've had radios, VHF radios picked up. I've had engine parts picked up. I've had this and impellers and all sorts of stuff over the years. You know, just rig it up for time and
do you have trouble getting them in there with importation tax or anything like that, or just kind of
it's a bit of a gauntlet there when you run through customs. But yeah, you can get most stuff in there, man. I've been in through there, but when they stop you just got to pay, you know. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's already there, so
they're not going to keep it for a month. They're going to say, here, you pay, you can go. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's pretty good like that. But it's definitely, if you're shipping things in containers and stuff, you have to clear customs. It takes a little while. But if you know ahead of time, you can expect that time to be, you know, a month in customs waiting for all your stuff. You can pick it up and get everything worked out. But it's definitely backwards down there. It's definitely island time. Everything's slower, and they're not going to get everything done bang bang. You know,
all things you got to account for when you're running an operation like you guys. How many
it's stressful, bro. Really stressful, man, because you got all these people coming in for a season. You got this problem, that problem. Makes you go grey pretty quick. You know, the charter boat captain, who thinks those guys would stress out? There's a lot of stressing going on there.
Yeah. Speaking of the season, what is the typical Cape Verde season, or what? I mean, obviously you're talking about fishing later in the year, but it's more of a earlier in the year, like springtime is typically where it kicks off.
I'll tell you what, bro. I've been hearing guys catching blue marlin there in early February. It was straight out in front of the harbour. You know, I'm talking 2 miles out in front of the harbour, catching 6 blue marlin in a day in February. The weather's good. The current's pushing in right. They're there. I always start in March, because I always think March the water starts to usually turn to more warmer water, better for blue marlin. You know, we fish up. We've always usually finished around there after July, but the fishing's still good there in July. Yeah, the boys on the wave paver seen an absolute monster there, and I think it was the first week of August. They said it was the biggest fish they've seen of their life there. So a lot of people say we leave there too early, but you know, the other destinations are starting to heat up. The wave of fish are coming through, like the Canaries and the Azores in end of July, you know. But we're going to be doing a few test runs down there to find out how long this season actually is, because I think it's going to be going to August and September easy. Plus all the local commercial fishermen on the island where I built my guest house, they all telling me big fish, big yellowfin tuna and bigeye time is August, September. That's when they do their best fishing.
Yeah.
So that stuff's rock and rolling around the place there. You know what else is going to be there?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Nobody knows, man. There's not enough people fishing there to say, you know. We need like 4 or 5 boats fishing August and September all the way through to find out actually what's going on.
Yeah.
I fished there back in 2007, or was it 8 with Zach, and we raised like 16 fish one day in like September. Wow. You know, and nobody knows, man. Nobody knows. It's waves of fish coming through.
Yeah. You know? Where do they typically come off the continent of Africa, or they come in? You say it's the westerly current's the best. Are they coming out from the middle of the ocean?
Yeah, I like that myself, but a lot of people have got their say in the matter. Where's going? What's going on? I don't really know, man. To be honest,
it's all theory, isn't it?
It is. Nobody's got any proof, man. It's just a theory sort of deal. But when you see that good water, good temperature, I'm definitely a sign sort of guy. I'm looking for bait sign. I'm looking for birds. I'm looking for all the sign that I can think of that I know have had good fishing before. That's what I look for. And when I see that westerly current, I always like it. I'm always like,
Yeah.
yeah,
You get that good feeling. You start to see your signs, and you're like, oh, well,
oh yeah.
I should probably see one here soon. And then, oh, there it is.
Then you're nearly getting spooled on your teaser.
Yeah. Let's speaking of teasers and stuff like that, let's talk about like the actual fishing. Let's talk about what a day in Cape Verde looks like as far as like the time you leave the dock, and then we'll get into how you guys actually fish, you know, and what the different scenarios on the different islands may be.
Well, my time I leave the dock all fluctuates with how the fishing is going in those prior days to us leaving for that charter. So if it's really good and I know where they're at or what, I'll leave early. I'll say, hey guys, let's meet at the boat at 6:30. It's maybe late for you guys in the States, but that's quite early for us over here. And we'll do breakfast and coffee and toasted sandwich or something on the boat, egg sandwich or whatever's going on. And we'll get down to our zone and we'll fish there. And depending if which island it is too, because we might be on, there's 3 different islands we fish, so it all depends on that. But we'll leave about 6:30, and as I say, give our charter a run through the whatever and how we're fishing. And move down to our spots and fish our spots down there. And if we're coming back to the main port in Mondello and they're staying in the hotels there, I'll try to get back in there between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. They get a pretty good charter day with me. I don't just do 8 hours, you know. It's usually between, if it's a shitty day, I might do 9, and if it's good fishing, I'll do 10 to 11 at times, you know.
Well, you want to catch them too.
Oh man, that's the whole part of the job, isn't it? You want to catch them. I want to catch them more than the charters at sometimes, man.
Yeah. So you leave the dock and then say, I mean, do you have to run very, like if you're fishing out front, do you run very far at all?
I run if the guys want to pay me to run. Running our boat is a small extra charge when I was working for La Onda, and I'll run wherever, you know. If they want to do that, we can do that. But otherwise, I just troll down, take it easy. Everybody has their breakfast, and within 10 miles, we're at the ground if we're fishing out the San Pedro. But if we're fishing out the front, we're there in 20 minutes, you know. We're right there. So it all depends. And when you're fishing over in St. Nicolau behind my island, as soon as you leave the port, you put the gear in because they could be right there in about 2 minutes. Yeah, it's right out front, man.
Do you ever look from your house and be like, all right, well, like they see the birds or something, you're like, that's where we'll fish.
But Devon Silas on the shoe was moored outside my house on a mooring buoy there. One of our moorings out front of my house, and I'm sitting with my charter having bacon and eggs, looked off the porch, and Devon's put him in, and he's just hooked up on the drop off about 2 miles out from my house. I'm saying that's bloody disgusting. Could have waited for our breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty funny, eh?
Yeah, that's amazing, man.
Yeah. Well, when the fish show up on that St. Nicolau behind there, ask your dad, man. Your uncle. My
uncle, yeah.
Yeah, he's seen it good there, man, and well, not real good, but when it fires off there, it's like it's a big lee. So you're fishing in a big lee for flat water and deep, you know, blue marlins, you know, 2 miles from shore.
It's good. Incredible.
Yeah.
And your house there, you have places for people to stay at your house there?
Yeah, got 4 double rooms there, got a rooftop bar. It's pretty simple, it's pretty laid back, but everybody seems to like it. It's a fisherman's house. It's clean rooms, double beds, air conditioned, toilet and shower in each room, a nice private balcony. It's man, it's just what I could do with at the time, you know.
That's beautiful, man.
Man. People like it. It's got a good atmosphere.
Nice.
Yep.
So all right. So you leave in the dock, and you're setting out wherever you set out. What is you spoke a lot about your that you guys have been a lot of places you started lure fishing originally, but now you switched to bait and switch or maybe a combination of what brought that on?
I don't know, just evolving with the times and listening to guys pitch baiting and doing that and getting involved. This was a number of years ago. This was a long time ago. This was shivers when I say we started pitch baiting was probably 2010, something like that. But yeah, now it's pretty much a dredge, 2 bridge teasers and 2 lures. But a lot of boats down there are still pulling hooks. And so there's some guys down there just rolling dredge and 3 teasers. That's it, and just everything. But I'm a bit bored of that. I'm a lure fisherman. I like to fish with hook and catch the big ones with a hook. I that's what I am. I like to fish with lures with hook. But now it's just 2 bridge teasers. On my old boat, I had some 130s bolted to the hard top with 400-pound mono, and all the way through to my big heavy snap onto my leader to my teasers, and then 2 longs. But if the fishing gets really red hot there, we used to change. We didn't always used to fish lures on the long. Sometimes I'd skip flying fish with 500-pound mono with the old 18 or 19 circle hook on the longs with some little chuggers on the front, big flyers out the back, and that worked a real good treat. Actually caught the World Cup in 2020, caught that 964 on a skip and flying fish with a 20 circle and 500-pound mono. That was a good fish.
Well, tell us about that fish then, man. I want to hear from if you marked them to the whole till you put a gaff in them, man. Until you get back to the dock. Tell me about that, man.
Oh man, well we left on the 1st of July. We went over to St. Nicolau. I was working all my runs over there on the southern bank. Tons of not skipjack, but the smaller bullet tuna there, with the locals call caipirinha. And there was schools of those for a day and a half. We was fishing around these big bait schools, and we didn't get a bite. Saw a free jumper or something. So I said to the boys on the 3rd of July, listen, we're going to go northwest bank. That's like 75, 80 miles away from where we were. So the next morning we just chugged our way out of there, and everybody sat back and relaxed, and we got over to this other island, Santantal. We cooked up a big feed, had a few beers, did a little bit of fishing at night and went to sleep. And then the next morning we left early to get out to the bank, out to the northwest bank, 16 miles off that island. Got out there and I just started seeing these big giant yellowfins busting and chasing flies. I went, oh, this is looking good. Bunch of birds winging around. So I trolled my drop off there, which is how I usually troll the southern bank. And we caught 4 wahoos. I said, put out something just to see if we can catch a tuna. And we caught 4 wahoos on the World Cup, threw them in the boat. And I saw a bunch of bait way up in the shallows there, a bunch of small bigeyes or small yellowfins, whatever they were, but they weren't very big. They weren't skipjacks. They weren't skippies, but they were the yellowfin or bigeye, I don't know. But we went up rolling all the way up there. I had my 2 skip and flying fish out, and here she comes on the right rigger. She came up, missed it, dropped back, and I went, hey, boys, there's a fish there. And I had my old mate, Olaf Grimkowski, Captain Olaf Grimkowski, and he was our angler. So it ate the right rigger, and he struck him pretty good out of the covering board, picked up the rod and went over to the chair, and we had him on. We thought it was a 600-pounder at first. And anyway, the boys cleared all the stuff away, got the gas down from the bridge. I still had the gas laying in front of me up on the wheelhouse there, up on the bridge. And so we tied everything off and got back, and I told my local crewman, Elton Forte Lopes, I said, listen, bro, just give me 50% of your power, take a double and pull on him and see what happens. And we came back on him pretty good, and we did that, and he came jumping right out behind the back of the boat across the transom, and I went 750. And those boys all shut up. They all said nothing down there. They were like, wow, and this, but nobody gave me a call. I said, I reckon it's 750. Anyway, we fought him for 2 hours on full drag, and Olaf poaching. Olaf's a big unit. He was poaching that drag with his hands. It was crackling off that real good. Anyway, we wore him down after 2 hours. We got him the lead half a dozen times, maybe. A lot of times we had him on the lead. I just told him to dump him. He wasn't ready. And anyway, last time we got him, we stuck the gaff in him, one gaff in him, and yeah, he sort of like turned belly up beside the boat, and we slid him in the door. And Olaf said, man, this could be a grander. And I went, fuck off. I said 800. I said from my 750 call to 800, and I stuck with 800. Anyway, we came into the dock and weighed her up. Yeah, it was 964. So with no charter on board, just the boys.
Incredible, just the boys, man.
Yeah, that was good. yeah, it was cool. I was lucky, mate. That was lucky because Sam Peters put us in for that tournament during COVID, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
well, that's a would you say that would be, when you think about, seems like your career has been based off of chasing big fish around to win, like what you really love to do is chase big fish, it seems like. And for that,
For sure.
for you to win that tournament that is basically a worldwide tournament about the biggest blue marlin, would that be close to the pinnacle of your career, or maybe a goal, maybe?
Yeah, it's definitely a goal. It's like that's one of the hardest ones. I haven't weighed a grander as a captain, but I've been a part of 4 kills, of granders. But for me, that there weighing that fish it's how can I say, not many people have got that cup,
Yeah, for sure. No,
I was definitely really happy about it, and I was, like stoked. But yeah, I don't know what my pinnacle of my career is yet, man. I'm still charging. I'm still going. I'm going to find it with this next boat that we got with Sammy,
Yeah.
Sam Peters there with this GNS boat, and see what we can do with this thing. Yeah. I'm not too much on world records and stuff, but I still like to catch a really big one like that 1370 in the Cape Verde. Those fish are around. I've seen a couple of nice ones down there which we couldn't catch, And
when you say you couldn't, you didn't get a bite, or
no, we hooked one up. Me and in the early days there, me and Zach Conde on the Andromeda hooked this monster. And Zach was calling it 1500, and this thing was just one of those ones that you were in awe of. And yeah, it went down and died on us. We put on a fish extractor. There was like a device that you could put on a line and attach another line to it. It's got hooks coming back up this way. Little things, and we dropped that down with a downrigger ball to get on this thing in 600 meters in super rough seas between 2 islands where we had this fish. And we had 2 big, strong Russians on there. They were just useless anglers, pardon my French, but they were. And anyway, we had them coming back up out of 600 meters on one, and we got the other one onto the action, and we started seesawing them to get the fish come up with the swells. And yeah, we broke one dacron, and then we broke the next, but it wasn't without trying.
Yeah,
fish was
crazy.
Fish was actually, the fish is on my Facebook profile. That fish, it's hard to see it, but because it was so far away. But if you can look at that blue marlin, you won't see too many blue marlin like that, with the weight going all the way to its head, and all the way follows all the way back down to the tail. It was a massive fish, But yeah, I don't know, man. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just going fishing, mate. I like fishing, and that's why I'm in Cape Verde, because I know that's where the fish are.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
So you guys.
Sorry to get sidetracked, but there's so much to talk about down that place.
No, man. We can get sidetracked all we want, dude. That's. I love hearing about the fish. I mean, the stories are always best for the ones that get away. Like I'm sure. When you said that typically when somebody says around here on the East Coast, we couldn't catch him, it's probably because they pulled a hook or something, but not like actually because we literally had him hooked and we couldn't catch him because he was too big.
Yeah. Well, that's and most of these world-renowned fishermen, Barky Garnsey, Peter B. Wright, rest in peace, all of these guys, they are always saying the biggest fish they ever saw was in the Cape Verde waters.
Mm-hmm.
That's so. Yeah. I know I've seen a couple real big ones there, and every year there's monsters seen.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that the Azores didn't have any granders caught there. There was a lot of good crews up there this year. There was a lot of good guys fishing, and it just shows you, man, it's not that easy.
No, it's far from that. I'm terrified to actually hook one in a tournament. That's just not something we do, and I'm like, and then it could happen, with how we fish here.
Sure. And, all those Bisbee and that, you want to have a guy on there in case that happens. You need a guy that's got the experience of what to do, because I think these big fish experienced guys is far and few between these days, man.
For sure.
you get a big one, goes down and dies on you. You know, you got to plane some angles up. I don't know how many captains know how to plane angles up.
Well,
on a big
let's
fish.
talk about that, because I've I have my ways of fighting fish that get deep, and I think a lot of people do. But how do you, when say you're going to take one and you're really gonna take one because it's a big one, how are you going to fish, and how are you going to fight it after the hookup? And talk to me from the initial hookup. And do you do things differently if it's on a pitch bait or a lure?
100%, I do. If it's on a lure caught fish, I'm looking for where that fish is hooked for starters. You've got to see where it's hooked. You know, if he's a skin hook on the side of the face, you're going to take him light, and you're just going to back your drag off and try and get as he's swimming away from you, back up to him and try to get him to stall out somehow and take a gaff shot. Easy on the leader, but heavy on the gaffs. There's every fish is different. There's a lot of similarities how they fight and that, but say if you get him on a big pitch circle hook with cable, I'm going to go heavy drag straight off the bat. If I know he's hooked good, I'm going as much drag as my angler can handle, and I'm going to go at him quick, and I'm going to use a lot of drag. If he goes down, I'll back off the drag, and we'll pull some angles around the front or off the side and see which way we can get line back on the reel better and carry on that way. But lure fish and pitch bait's totally different. Gotcha.
Do they tend to like here, what I've experienced, and I've done most of my fishing off of a what I would say like a continental spot, like Central America or the East Coast of the United States. So do they tend to swim offshore almost once they do their thing and they jump around a little bit? Once they get down and dirty, it seems like they swim almost exclusively offshore, not even considering the current.
I don't know, but most of these big ones I've hooked, the ones I really want to get them good, they always swim into the hardest sea that they can find, where it's just shit for you to fight them. You know, take you out to the shit. They just know. They never swim into the say, "Hey, come and gaff me in this calm water." They always go buggering off to some nasty current place with there's waves everywhere. If you know what I mean. Yeah. No, I don't know, man. The bigger ones go where they want to go, but I've had one this year. Oh no, it wasn't this season. It was last season. Angler Chris Claxton from the UK, beautiful guy, good angler, real good joker. We hooked this 850 plus right in off this drop off right in Sunton Towers, a big ledge. And anyway, this fish took us into 20 meters of water, so we could see the bottom, and and we had we have 40 pounds of drag on him, which wasn't the most we could put on, but we had 40. It was on a lure. We seen him hook pretty good. Stay stuck 11-0. Anyway, that thing got into the beach, right up to the beach there, and he turned around, did a U-turn on us, nearly swam under the props. And then he took us back out, did jumps, and he went back in, and we spun around on him again, and it was amazing. I thought he was going to beach himself. 20 meters on myself. He was in the water there.
Wow.
Pretty crazy, eh? So, and if he swum the other way, he would have been in 500 meters and about very close, in a quarter of a mile, not even that. I'm talking 100 meters. He would have been in 500 meters. Yeah. So who knows, eh?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Need to look at
those. What was that?
I said I need to look at statistics more.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those captains that writes everything down, which I should be.
Me neither. And I say the same thing. I tend to file it in my mind. It seems to work out pretty good.
Yeah, I hear you. But that's, maybe we'd learn a little bit better as fishermen if we did detail all the stuff down. But I sort of like the not knowing of it's quite interesting to me. Not knowing enough about it. That's what keeps me fishing, I reckon. Yeah.
So
anyway,
so I did notice I was watching a couple videos of chase fishing in the Azores, and I don't know if this was a thing, like a normal thing that you guys do or he was doing, but he would get a bite on a pitch, 80 pitch with a bent butt, and he would feed it and come tight, and he'd go to strike, and then he'd go to full. Is that like a normal thing? Okay.
On my boat it is. Yeah, on my boat it is. I don't know. He's fishing with my buddy Zach, but Chase comes from my breeding when he comes fish with me. So that's what we do anyway. Sometimes, if you get the reaction on 30 and it's peeling off pretty good, why not go to 50? Drill it in there. You're good. Back at the 30, good to go.
Gotcha. That's your thinking behind it?
Hey, some of those big baits, they can swim around with 30 pounds of drag and not know they're hooked. I've had plenty of baits eat the skippy with the circle hook and still swim up my transom while we're clearing teasers down deep. And I'm just like to the angler, okay, just wind when you can. And when he turns and runs, sit back, and we'll be rolling ahead, clearing all the teasers and stuff. And the longs come in before he reacts. And sometimes he'll go out there and have a look at a long rigger coming and being cleared.
When he's got it, is he just got it in the dog bone, or is he got it?
He's just holding on to the bait, man.
Yeah.
That's why you see these big guys on the reef. They're not striking their fish with light drags. They got 45 pounds of drag on their bites, because those big blacks can hold. Same with the blue marlin, they can hold that pressure. And if your floss is held up too long on your big pitches, too grunty floss, well, you just want him to, so he can eat it. But he'll pull that without even being hooked. He'll pull that 30 pounds of drag. Yeah. We like going up to.
So your theory is basically if that happens and he finally turns, your theory is to go all the way to full and let that make that hook come out from the pitch bait and find somewhere that you actually hook him.
You want to hook him closer to the boat you can hook a fish, the better you're going to be. Yeah. But you don't want to overhook him too quick. You want to let him get away, get down. You want to let him have it,
Yeah.
But that's some anglers push the drag up too quick. I'm always like, hold it, give it a long free spool, like when I tell you, and then as long as they don't bird nest it, they're all right.
Yeah.
Pitch bait in a 130 with an 80 on, it's not that easy.
No, not at all. It's a skill, and
but that's fishing, you want to be this big game angler, you got to be able to do that shit,
Yeah. How important is like having somebody who knows how to fish but is able-bodied enough? Like, I think everybody runs into, especially fishing at the level of a big sport fisher, or in your case a charter that's in a far off land, you're going to be dealing with older people more often than not, but it still helps if they're able-bodied.
For sure. And then a lot of my guys with the sea conditions, I say, hey, listen, if you're not comfortable to pitch it, get one of my boys down there. Both of my crew are able to pitch a big bait, and just jump in the chair. They'll hook up the fish and give you the rod, and there's no doubts about it. That a lot of my guys can do that, but a lot of my guys like to pitch their own. That's they want to come down there for war on one with a big pitch. That's what they want to do. But sometimes I'm pretty slack with my big pitch. I'm always pitching 50. We catch a lot of our fish on 50-pound chair rods, so they're comfortable to pitch those. Yeah. And if you don't get your call right, because we tow in our teasers real close to our boat. Our teasers are so close, you got to be watching, because if you get one up on it and you don't see the size of them, you want to make your right call.
Yeah.
So to speak, but we catch a lot of our big ones on 50 pounds because we've made a mistake on our call. We got plenty of 750s on 50-pound tackle, man.
Yeah.
I want to sort of like make an amends for that in this new boat, because I think my pattern will be a little bit further back, so we'll get a better call for what we want to pitch them.
Yeah. Do you think they're down there and they kind of come in on the dredge, or they look at the propellers and they look up and they see your teaser and then bite?
Lots of we've had them sitting behind following our boat, totally lit up blue. Sam Peters caught a 700 with us, rose it up on the teasers. We were doing figure eights, trying to look for him. He was down there just following our props, totally blue. Then he drifted back, and then Sam hooked him on the 80 pitch. But that fish was with us for about a minute and a half, just looking at our props, totally blue. from the bill to the tail. Everything on it was electric blue.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing to see too. He was lit up, that thing.
What's the longest you've had a fish follow you around for, you think?
Well, in Ghana, we had a filmmaker called Gerardo Long. He made this video. It's a video cassette because it was so long ago. He timed one. I think it was like 5.5 minutes. Was behind our boat. Yeah, just cruising with us.
Were you guys fishing no hooks so he could get the video? Or
no, we were fishing. We were fishing all lures with hook, and that it was called Blue Marlin of Ghana by James G. Bridge, who was Gerardo Long. It was a pretty cool video back in the day, but yeah, we had underwater cameras to a full-time 2 twin screen visual console down in the V berth of that Harriman Tan and on the Shy 3. It was a cool setup. We had his cameras on the outriggers there, looking down under our shore baits, getting the bites. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. 5 minutes with a big fish like that. That's I mean, if
Yeah.
they could all just follow us around for 5 minutes and eat at the end, that would be about perfect, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I'd like that.
That's awesome. So going back to the fishing that you guys have, the way you're fishing is like a hybrid, the dredges up close and the bridge teaser and then a lure.
Yeah.
You found that
depending on how many fish is around, I will change. I do a lot of live baiting down there too. I live bait a lot. When the conditions are right, we'll go to live bait. Sometimes we'll go to skip bait. I'll skip bait around all the baits, We'll put out 2 baits on the longs and put the dredge out. Put my teaser down there at 6 knots, and just have a pitch bait. Go. We sort of like fish to the conditions, you know what I mean? Like if the fish are eating live baits, we'll go live baiting. If the fish are, bait and switch fishing, if they're coming just on teasers, we'll teaser fish. But my usual pattern is bridge teaser, 1 dredge, 2 bridge teasers, and 2 lures. And then if it slows down, we may put a shotgun out. We may put another dredge out. We may, it all depends on what's going on. Yeah. Sometimes, as the old saying is, less is more. You know what I mean?
For sure.
There's a lot of fish around. You don't want too much shit out there.
Do you find that they tend to, if you do have a lot of stuff, they tend to get confused on what to eat sometimes?
I think you can confuse fish. Yeah, you can give them too many options. You know what? If it's a big one, get the shit out of the water. If you're pitch baiting, get both those bridge teasers out, man, because I've been sacked so many times, thinking I can get it away and you just can't. Clear everything. If you got them on coming in your right teaser, and if you got lucky up there to have electrics, push that one in and get both of them coming in, because you want to eat that bait good. You don't want them to smash your teaser and come off and then be a bit wary and not eat your bait so good. Yeah. But as I say, it's like tournament fishing in Cape Verde. There's a good bunch of fishermen down there, man. So everybody wants to catch some daily tournament every day. Well, this year we caught, what did I do? I fished 100 days, 102 days, and caught 100 blues. Wasn't our best year, but that's still not bad fishing.
I mean, I think averaging a blue marlin a day is pretty much phenomenal most places in the world except for Cape Verde.
Non-sonar boat. Non-sonar. No.
Well, now you can't say that. You're going to have a sonar. You're going to be the enemy now.
The pressure's building, bro. The pressure's building.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
It's all good, mate.
Averaging a blue a day. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I was
fishing.
My last season on the Henricus that way. It was a good season. I've got good crew. I've got good anglers that fishing with me, so that makes my job a whole lot easier.
You don't get many beginners down there, do you?
Oh yeah, I've got lots of people that started fishing with me, didn't know too much, and now they're coming back on their 5th and 6th trip.
Wow.
Yeah, so we cater for everybody, man. We're pretty easy going, man. We're very open, and if someone's no good at something, I say, hey, listen here, man, you're shit at that. We got to practice on this, and I'll get them practicing doing this. I don't cut around the corner, mate. I just tell it how it is. I'm not going to hurt your feelings. I'm just tell you the truth, Yeah. So if you like that, you'll be okay with us. You know what
For
I
sure.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we have all walks of life and really good. I'm very happy and very proud of the people that fish with us. We've got guys down there for 10 years fishing along with us, you know, so it's pretty cool.
That's a lot. I mean, that says a lot about you and your operations that you've been in charge of, because it's not a small undertaking even to come from Europe. I'm sure it's not a small undertaking to get the Cape Verde, let alone the states.
This is what as I said, these people are flying across countries to come and fish with us. So we gotta be, you know, we gotta show them what we can. We're not there sleeping in the corner. You know, we're really trying to succeed in this charter fishing business, because we know if people come back, we can still be allowed to do what we like doing, which is marlin fishing. Yeah,
that's super important. I feel like like I said, it says a lot about the programs you've been in charge of, to have people travel that way, that far, to be there and go fishing with you. I think it's an incredible achievement, man. It probably goes understated.
Yeah, well, it's not just me; it's my whole team. I've got a really good young crewman called Elton Forte Lopes. He's been with me since he was 16. He got seasick. He gets seasick every year. For the first 3 or 4 days, he's sick. He's complete seasick, but then he gets over, comes away, and yeah, he's a great asset to the team. And to have a local crewman doing so well in his career like him, that makes me sort of proud, because you got to give back to the local people there. We want to involve them as much as you can, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Tell us about the community there in Cape Verde and how a difference in Mindelo versus San Nicolau, where your house is.
Oh, yes. That was a tiny little place, man. You know, we know the mayor, we know the local MP, we know everybody around. You know, everybody knows everybody's business. Well, not so much in that way, but it's definitely a fishing community. You know, there's a small dock there. There's an ice plant. There's going to be a fish and vegetable house they're just making now, so they can sell the fish there. And it's a really cool island, and it's very safe. And you know, people go down there and they look at Cape Verde. We used to get told, oh, Cape Verde's dangerous. You can't go out. You can't do this. There's some little street kids around causing problems, little teenagers, you know, but that's about it, man. Especially if you want to go look for trouble, you can find trouble anywhere, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But for me, I think it's one of the safest places I've ever lived.
Yeah.
Probably safer than New Zealand.
Incredible. And then is Mindelo the biggest town on the 3 islands?
No, Mandelo's the island where all the boats are kept. There's the marina there and the sport club, which I'm involved in. But there's 80,000 people live on the island. There's a few street kids around causing a little petty crimes, you know, stealing sunglasses and trying to, you know, get what they can. But if you just don't even talk with them and carry on your way, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But the main island is Santiago, and they got like 400,000 Cape Verdeans living there. And Santiago, the capital, Praia.
I got you.
That's a little different over there. I've heard a lot of rumors about that place too, but I can't say because I haven't been there. But I remember when I first started going to Cape Verde, and they said, "Oh, be careful in Mindelo, be careful." But I found the place actually really good. I didn't think it was that bad at all.
Nice. And then as far as like, I'm just curious, man. Like, just from is there a fair bit of things to do in Mindelo? You can go hang out and.
Oh, there's some bars, restaurants, there's some nightclubs if you want to wait till about 2 o'clock in the morning when they start. Straight to the nightclub, straight to the boat.
Gotcha.
Not anymore. Too old for that shit. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on down there, and depending on what time of year they're very festive. The Cape Verdeans have lots of music festivals. They're very, you know, they love their culture, man. There's always big parties going on, tents on the beach, big proper DJ and people singing and bands and music. There's always that stuff going on, which is good because COVID killed that for a while, and it really sort of like wasn't the same sort of island.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mandelo's got some nicer hotels moving in there now. It's definitely becoming more of a tourist place. Which is good for us fishermen because we're going to have better locations and better hotels to stay in, you know, for the higher end people who don't mind that. But yeah, I think the Cape Verdes is coming ahead in the right direction. And the people there are good, man. The Cape Verdeans are good people.
Yeah. So I'm just looking here on the map. So you mainly fish those 3 islands that are to the northwest, correct?
Yeah, northwestern group. Yeah, Santantau, San Nicolau. Then you got 3 uninhabited islands before you get to San Nicolau, where I built my place.
I got you. And what about the rest of the fishing in the other islands? Is it just as good? Or nobody knows?
I can continue all the way along those islands, and what I tend to do, if the fleet's doing pretty good, off one island, say they're in Santantau and everybody's seeing 1 and 2 and 3 marlin a day, you know, I might stay there and I think, well, I can pretty much do that in my island, and I'll leave one morning early, get up early and troll all the way to where my island is. Or if the guy wants to run and pay the running fuel, I'll run that way. So you have the free idea to move around, and just because the charter fleet's catching it there doesn't mean it's the best place to be.
For sure. I mean, because you don't, I mean, like you said, the fleet is, you know, maybe half dozen, 10 boats on a good day. Yeah.
Exactly. 10, 12 boats on a good day, but like everybody might see 2 or 3 fish and you're like, oh, that's good. I'm going to stay there. If you were 2 boats there, it may be really good, you know?
Yeah.
But that's just the way I'm looking at it. And the people that come fishing with me, I always ask them, I always give them the option. I say, hey, this is what's happening here. Or do you want to try this? You want to try that? You know, I'm always giving, and they always say, what do you reckon? I said, well, it depends on the skill level of the angler and how many fish the angler's caught, you know?
Yeah.
If you want to gamble, go look for a big one. Let's go by ourselves and let's go run these areas and do this and do that. I'm pretty lucky because I've got some experience there, and I sort of like, sometimes it pays off for me, but, you know, sometimes I'll go 60 miles, try one day, 60 miles that way, get there and find out the water's green and there's no current or whatever, you know what I mean? And then next morning I go all the way back. But that's the gauntlet you run, because sometimes you get it right, you go all that way and you may catch 10.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, you got to kind of try to, what I try to say is you try to stay ahead of the fishing a little bit. You know, you can't be, I mean, chasing reports is great. You're gonna get some bites, but are you gonna have that day? Probably, chances are probably not, where you're gonna have a day where you see, you know, 10 or 12 or something like that.
Roger that. If the less boats around you, I think that's the better chance of you getting more fish, you know. But it's pretty hard to leave because everybody talks on the radio. Everybody's giving you the information, you know. So that can screw you also, you know what I mean? Yeah. But that's one good thing about Cape Verde. Everybody's still pretty good with the charter fishing, and nobody's holding back info. Everybody's like, all the captains down there are half decent jokers, you know, and they're telling you what's going on, which I like. Yeah, because it makes sure all the charters get. If the captains are getting information, the charters getting information. That makes the charter feel good. They know, oh, there's marlin here. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then, I wanted to ask you too about the stay stuck. I assume, considering that, you know, you're running a boat for Sam now, Sam Peters, like you had more than a fair influence on the research and development and the theory behind it. Can you? I honestly haven't fished with one, so I mean, could you explain that to me and other people who haven't fished with them?
Well, Sam Peters, I'll tell you a little bit of history about the hook. Sam started developing that hook years and years ago, and to where we got the hook now, we went through like 13 different prototypes to where the hook is at now. So it wasn't just bang, that's what we're getting. There was a whole lot of testing and a whole lot of stuff, and I was just a part of testing it. You know, Sammy wanted specific things done, and I always said, I'm very open to it. I really like the concept. And when I first saw it, I was not a believer, man. I said, no way, this is shit, you know. And then we started working, and we were like 10 for 12 on the first, or 10 for 11 on the first time, and I was like, holy shit, man, I'm a believer now, you know. Anyway, it's a quite a lengthy hook, and it's got 3 rings that are held by 2 clips, an inner clip and an outer clip, and they pinch down to a certain pound pressure over those rings. And so when you're fishing, you've got a long shank J hook which is really good for penetration and very good for hookup.
Yeah.
When you fight it, it snaps away those clips and you're pulling from a lower part of the hook. And that's called, when you start pulling hooks, that's called the rotational torque of the hook. So what happens is when you've got a long shank, your rotational hook, you can really pry that hook out easy. It's like if you've got a wheel nut and you're trying to get a wheel nut off. If you've got a spanner which is short, you can't get any leverage. You put a big long bar on it, you got lots of leverage. It's the same with the hook. So you've got a long bar for leverage for the hook to go in. Once you're fighting 17 pounds of pressure, should break that away, and then you're pulling them from a very low point of to pull the hook. Does that make sense? I'm not very good at
perfect for me. No, I think it's well articulated and makes perfect sense to me.
Sam Peters is the brains behind it. I just helped dial in some small little errors and testing and stuff. But it's amazing. Listen, I run that hook for 3 seasons, and I've got over 70% in all 3 seasons. You know, and we count every knockdown. Sammy made me document all the bites that we had, and he wanted me to rate them, like was that sort of good bite or bad bite, you know. And so I had a notepad in the bridge. I was documenting everything for 3 years, and it's pretty amazing. And just recently, Olaf, because I hooked Olaf up with some hooks, and he got to 84.5% in the Azores this year. He caught 56 out of 62 bites on the stay stocks.
Wow.
You know, I would be fishing there with him, but I was waiting for my boat to get ready, and so I couldn't fish the Azores. So it gave my job away. But he was pretty much running the drag settings and the style that I was fishing. So I know it works, you know, and that's a great concept. And to be honest, you're silly not to pull that hook. It's really uprating your hookup rate, you know.
Gotcha. And is there a recommended, you know, or not a recommended, but a drag pressure that what do you guys typically fish in general on before the stay stocks and now during it?
I'm a 17-pound man on my strike, man. I like my 17 pounds, and if the fish is just sitting there lollygagging and shaking his head and doing bugger all, I just leave it there. But if he turns and he starts running, I'll grease him to 25 in the covering board, you know, and then leave it there a second or two, then just come back to 17, then go to the chair. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're typically gonna fish on the bite, say maybe your 17 is halfway the strike or something like that, and you get a bite. He's taking drag. You'll go to 25, and then you'll backtrack off the 17 to pick the rod up and go to the chair.
Roger. And you know, I'm not pulling my drag like I see a lot of guys pulling these super fast drag. I'm a slow pull drag. So when I look at my reel and I see that reel just coming off, I know I got 17. You know, that going off at a rate of knots, I know I've got a lot more. But I like my slow drag pulls.
I gotcha.
Yeah. But it's an amazing concept. Can't say that hook is a badass hook, and we're going to see some good things coming up in the future here with that hook. Yeah,
and I mean, I would assume, since you spent most of your life or most of your career fishing, lure fishing, it's been a pretty revolutionary thing. I mean, you've seen a lot of bites with lures.
Oh, mate, for sure. You know, you've got some of the best names in the game trolling that hook. You know, you've got Marlon Parker from Kona, Hawaii. He's the man up there, man. He's trolling our hook. You know, that guy's done a lot. You know, I'm talking. That's an experienced marlin captain right there. So we're pretty proud of that, you know. But the hook will speak for itself. That is what we say, you know. The hook will speak for itself.
That's fantastic, man. I'm curious. We should probably try it because we suck at lure fishing. So,
mate, that's if you're in these tournaments, and that's what you got to rely on. You got to have that in your arsenal, as well as your pitch bait, and as well as your skip bait, and as well as your dead, well as your live bait. You got to have all of those packed into the punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of pitch baiting, man, we like I said, we mainly focus on light tackle fishing here because we have mostly white marlins here, but we do see our fair amount of blues. I say here out of Ocean City, we're like last year we were like 1 in 5 for whites to blue ratio. This year it's more normal. It's more 1 to 8 or 10. So
Right.
we on this boat, I say that we just have the pitch bait out there for another teaser, because that's how bad we are with it, man. Like, so can we talk about how, maybe what hook you're using and what sort of rig you're using? Or do you snell your guys' hooks? Do you crimp them?
We on our 50-pound pitch, we just have we're using like a 300-pound mono snelled on there, but we do my crewman's doing this double snell knot. I think it originates from Nick Bovell. From he's a Trinidad guy that fishes on the Just Deal, or no, I forget the name of his boats, but it's like a double strength snell knot, and we snell them because some people are saying it's breaking off right at the knot, right where it goes through the eye of the hook. So this knot actually allows it to be pulling onto mono and not into that groove of the hook, where it would cut off. But we just basically use 250 to 300-pound mono and snell it on a 12-0 mustard, man.
Okay.
That's it, simple. And then we just put a little chugger between that and our ballyhoo or our flying fish or our small tuna, But you don't need, you can catch really big marlin on 250-pound, 300-pound mono. You can catch, to kill it's a different story. You got to kill them with the boat, not with the leader. You got to fight them in the fight, But you guys, I know you guys, you're dink bait fishing up there. Every now and again, you have these big blues show up on your teasers. You got to be able to get a good bait on them.
Yeah, for sure. And we've I don't know, we got more success fucking them off on the pitch bait than catching them on a dink bait.
Well, I think you got to downsize your hook size and downsize your leader size so we can scoff that bait down. Whatever good bait you got, you want to make it splashing a little bit so he can get a hold of it. I reckon a marlin, if he can get a hold of a bait, he's going to eat it a lot better than he can feel a small ballyhoo, or a large ballyhoo is quite small for a marlin, depending on the size of the marlin, of course. But other pitch, something that he can get a hold of, so he's got it, and then just give him the drop back, unless he eats a real good going away or something. But depending on the bite is when you're going to feed him. That's what I say anyway. But
And then your say on your 80 pitch, what do you guys do there?
480. I use that 480 marlin strand cable. It's real soft. It's 480 pounds. I use that on my hook sets too at times. It's a little bit weak for that. You got to really pay attention looking at your hook sets for, when you get that fatigue on your cable and stuff. But I like it because it's super flexible, and I reckon it really helps the hookup rate.
Yeah, gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, but we have we use that BKK 18-0, or I can't remember. No, it might be I'm not sure the size of that BKK, but we crimp on that cable, and we have 6 feet of cable, and then we do have a loop to that, and then onto mono with one of those stainless steel Flemish thimbles. Yeah, and then I just tape that over so it's sitting nice and pretty. But I like that cable rig on the 80 pitch, so there's no chafe. I've chafed through too many 500 and 600-pound monos on big marlins, so I don't do it no more.
Really? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that cable's a little bit more flexible than 500-600-pound mono as well, or is it?
Oh yeah, and there's no resistance. That'll slip into that corner easy, mate. You can feel it go in there. You know, that's on a big pitch. I'd rather have cable any day. And that 480 is quite small. It's quite a small diameter. And it's flexible enough to, we just crimp it. We don't snell it. We just crimp that, and shit, she rolls in those BKKs and they're nice. That fish is going to jail even when you just come to strike. You got them. Yeah,
gotcha. All right. Well, we were using the BKK, but we'll try the cable next.
I like the eagle claws too, mate. They're just a little bit soft. You can open them up, but if you've got to kill fish, as I say, if you got to kill fish, you're always going easy on the gloves, aren't you? You're not reefing on them. You're taking it easy. You're just doing. You want to go light gloves on the big fish. That's the key to having a good leader man.
Let's talk about that. Like, you got you're running the boat, you're coming up and you're gonna kill a big fish, and you're saying you want soft gloves, you don't want to be yoking on him, so he freaks out and jumps around like you typically would if you were gonna let him go.
Hey, you want to wire that thing up so you can park your boat right alongside him and slide 2 gaffs into him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want. And that's when the mate's got to listen to his captain.
Yeah.
You know, because the captain's driving the show. He's your quarterback. He's saying, okay, bring him up, shoot up, dump him. Even though the mate don't need to dump him, the captain says dump him, you dump him. Because there might be, the captain might be thinking two moves ahead of what the mate's thinking about.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that the crewman is a huge part, you know, of this this team, of the sport that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if both of your boys on the deck can get on super good and listen to you, you're going to catch way more fish.
Yeah, for sure.
Period, mate. If those boys down there getting on real fine and they understand what you want, you're going to catch way more fish than fellas arguing down there. And, you know, especially when it comes to that crunch time when everybody's really like zoned in on the big fish and you got the gas hanging out, and it's a little bit tense.
Yeah, you gotta have a lot of faith and confidence in the people you're down there with, or on the boat with, man. It's just a better experience overall. So
exactly.
But
that's why we're fishing those days, we're fishing for that time to come around again.
Yeah. So when you're you say, you know, the crew member, like I don't know, my theory is to, like, you have a certain amount of drag that the rod and reel are creating and the angler creating. I'm obviously talking about the scenario of coming back on a fish, not bringing a fish up underneath the boat. Okay,
you know
well,
what I mean?
Let's talk about both. Let's go with the coming back on the fish first. Yeah,
that's the way I like to take them, but it's not always the way you get them.
Yeah. Okay. So you're coming in, and he's up and he's maybe surfing down waves or something like that, and you're really coming back on him.
I'm coming back on him, but I'm not driving over fish. I'm coming along, trying to get right down the side of him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want the mate just to pull up the slack, and, you know, he's got to be able to dump, but he's got to be able to still hold the leader, dump, shorten him up. I'm going to bring that boat right alongside of him. And then that gaff man's going to be basically nearly standing in front of that gaff man.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. And he'll reach out that first one. And then if you've got another good crewman standing on the opposite side, he'll read where the fish is going next for the second gaff. Because I still think the second gaff guy's got the hardest job.
Really?
Yeah, because he's got to get that gaff in another good hold spot, and he's behind 2 people. He's got the leader man and gaff man, because you don't want 2 gaff men on one side. You want to split them, you know?
Yeah. Because
if that fish gets the first gaff and does a big lunge jump around across to the other side, and nobody's there, you know, you're going to drag everything across to the other corner. You want someone there.
So do they switch when do they basically take their sides? And then do they switch roles if he switches, and the guy, say on the right side corner, he switches, and then the fish switches to the left hand side? Do they basically?
I would say when you're a gaff man down there, get either side of your leader man.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want 2 guys on the side. What happens if the leader man, one guy has a swing and a miss, and the fish jumps around the other side there? You want, you know, it's better to have one guy either side. That's the way I was taught, you know. But a lot of guys have got their own way. Each boat's different, but that's how it is on my boat. I like one guy either side of the wire man. If you've got a second gaff man, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're talking about
jumping off the bridge and swinging hooks. I'm talking about a guy standing down there ready to swing, you know.
Yeah.
But shivers. I haven't done that for a little while. Would like to do it again. I did. I killed an 850 in the Azores last year, but yeah, it was a bit of a mistake. But yeah, that's it. You only get good by killing. I know that. You only get good by killing.
There's no real substitute for it, and that's one thing. No. You know, we around here, we fish catch and release tournaments, and then we fish catch and release most of the time, and then then there's two or three big tournaments here where you're looking at life-changing money, and even the best of the best boats around here don't really get a lot of chances to do this. That they bring
No.
the best boats bring somebody in.
Well, that's pretty smart, because you do get that one on there, and everybody's going, "Well, I don't know what to fucking do."
Yeah.
You might say you know what you want to do. You might know what you're doing at the bar after a fucking couple of handfuls, but you're in the cockpit and you're right there, and they're going, "Oh, what do you do?" You're like, "Fuck, do I know, man?"
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty funny.
So we were talking about when you were actually chasing a fish with the boat, and then when we're talking about this, like, are you mainly talking about, is the fish going to be going away, or is the wireman going to bring them around so the head's fishing the same way? Or, I mean, I know it's not an ideal situation.
Oh, well, there's a video. Actually, your father was on board, and it was this year, and we caught one about 750, and you can see that. You see how I positioned the boat with the fish.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll have to find it to you and shoot it to you.
Okay.
But all fish are different. You just gotta listen to the captain, and the mate will, because I'm gonna attack the fish that way. I'll make the mate look good, because I'm gonna give him slack to the fish. You know what I mean? I don't want him reefing on it, but there's going to be times where the fish goes deep, and we're going to pull him up on the side, and he's coming up towards the boat. The mate's got to stay in, mate, because if the fish comes ahead fast, you're going to put him round into the wheels if he's down deep, and if the mate can't keep his head up on the surface. So the best thing to do is the mate stands in the back corner when that happens. Don't walk up to your wheelhouse.
Okay.
Yeah. You want to. So what happens if that fish is going under the boat? The captain can squeeze ahead, and you'll go out the back. You know what I mean? But if the mate's wiring fish up near your going to your saloon, and the fish decides to go under the boat,
you're fucked.
He's going in the wheels,
Yeah.
So that's why I always say, if we're picking up the fish that way, coming up from deep, and always get the crew in the back corner, and never let your crewmen stand in the middle of the back when you're going back, when you're chasing them down sea and you're getting the leader. Even if you get the leader in the middle of the boat, go to your port or starboard, because your captain can do something with the boat then. Don't get stuck in the middle of the boat leadering fish. It's not a good place to be. One corner or the other. Then the captain actually do something and drive the boat to the fish. If you're in the middle, he's pretty screwed. If that makes any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. You can definitely.
The leader man needs to grab the leader, even if he gets it in the middle. Don't be worrying about getting those wraps first. I always pull my swivel to my rod tip, make sure the angler's safe. Then I'll chuck a back wrap in if I can, or get a quick short double, and then move to my corner.
Yeah.
And that allows your captain to be able more maneuverability with the boat, even the big boats that you fellas fish on.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I've always, it's easier to back past a fish and recover versus if you get pushed on top of it by a wave, especially because a lot of these fish like this, the fish to swim down sea, and it's not the sea conditions are pushing you that way, and then it could be. I've always preferred to keep them off to the side and try to recover from a mistake versus having to stop the boat and then having to reset everything again.
Exactly. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Cool, man.
That's it, eh? It's all, and you know what I'm saying is works for me. It doesn't mean it's the rule for every boat, but this is what I'm saying is what I've been taught. The ways I've been taught, and
well, you've been taught by people and also through experience, so you've learned. It's
yeah.
I mean, you guys, there's very few groups of guys that really tangle with big fish on a regular basis, in this industry. So
they probably end up being like me, broken, old, and worn out.
Well, seems like you got a fair bit going on.
Yeah, I'm happy, mate. So. I'm still fishing. Put it this way, I'm looking forward to my new ride. That's it, and I'm looking forward to the next season of fishing, to be honest. And I live for the fishing,
Yeah, me too, man. I got to make it over there. I'm listening to you talk like it's never been somewhere that's been realistic for me, but I think I'm gonna have to make it just to come see it one day.
Yeah, grab a couple of people you know, and we'll rig it up with Sammy. I'm going to be running the boat down there August, September. I guarantee you, mate. We're going to be finding them down there. And there's a guy that quoted or stated he caught 5 granders off my island, and he didn't start fishing he doesn't usually start fishing until end of July. And he's killed 5 granders on the St. Nicolaus, a German guy. He was in a Marlin magazine ages ago. I know the joker, but that's what he's stating. I never saw them. I saw some photos, but I never saw the fish. I was never there when he hung them up. But Wave Paver saw a big fish down there. We've seen fish down there in August before. July's can be really good fishing there as well. So yeah, we'll see how we go. Stand by for that one.
All right, man. Well, Marty, I appreciate it, dude. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an education. And I got a huge admiration of what you guys have built and are still building over there. So
yeah,
I appreciate it, man.
Cape Verde's a friendly place, and you're going to have a good time down there, mate. And there's a whole bunch of good captains, and there's a good camaraderie around. Everybody's really cool down there, and yeah, it's a good fishery to be a part of.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it, dude. Like I said, it's been an education, so I appreciate the time.
I leave. Remember, if you guys are wanting to up your game on your lure fishing for marlin, give the stay stuck hooks a try, because I'm guaranteeing you, mate, you're going to be a lot more happy than you are with just a regular J hook.
For sure, we're gonna have to give them a try, man. And
100%, man, 100%. Go ahead.
How do people get in touch with you to fish in Cape Verde if they need to?
On Facebook or Instagram, man.
Okay.
Facebook or Instagram, that's how you get a hold of me. And yeah, come fishing in the Cape Verdes, man. There's plenty of good charter boats down there. There's it's very friendly. You don't got no malaria or no diseases. You know, you're probably going to have a good time and drink a few too many cold super box, but that's okay. We can deal with that.
Man. Yeah, for sure. So, well, cool, Marty. Thanks everybody for listening. Check out hookoptics.com, please, if you guys have enjoyed it. Front runner boats. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.